You should get a notification. Get people talking to me. Tia. The famous Chris Good. I said the famous Chris Good.
Oh, man.
Okay. Did you get it? Okay.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Makayla Simone Show. I am your host, Makayla Simone, challenging all you leaders out there to live your success on purpose. I want to challenge you by interviewing individuals who are believing in achieving their dreams. Stay tuned right here on k-root.org from 12 to 1 p.m. with Makayla Simone.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Makayla Simone Show here on k-root.org from 12 to 1 p.m. with your host, Makayla Simone. So for those who probably just tuned in, beginning of the show, I was talking about Kingdom Keys to Success and just some great insight there. But I have the opportunity to bring in someone who is just doing amazing for the community, for his business, and I'm just going to allow him to introduce himself so we can kind of learn about who he is.
Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Chris Good. I'm the owner and founder of Ruby Jeans Juicery.
All right. Yeah, so we have the owner and founder of Ruby Jeans Juicery here in the lab today on the Makayla Simone Show. Thank you for coming on today because I literally reached out yesterday. I was like, oh my gosh, he is having his opening this weekend. Like, I got to get him on the show. And you're available. So thank you for just taking the time to be here on today. So I just want to start with this question. People are probably wondering, what made you start Ruby Jeans Juicery? Like, what was the history behind you? What inspired you to?
So Ruby Jeans Juicery, it kind of started a long time ago, even before I knew it was, starting. But it's all Ruby Jean is my late grandmother. She was battling type 2 diabetes when I was 14 years old, so way back in 1999, and she ended up passing from type 2 diabetes. So I kind of took that, and everything I did, I played football, would write her name on my t-shirt under my shoulder pads and put her picture in my locker. Everything I did, I honored her, who she was to me and how important she was. So as I got more engulfed into health and I got introduced into cleansing, juice cleansing specifically, I decided that I wanted to honor her, because she never got into health. So it's like a contradiction, but I wanted to honor the person she was, the meek and gentle spirit she had, and inject that energy into our business, but also, make it real, make it something that people can relate to, because, everybody loses people untimely. Not everybody, but a lot of people die untimely, and it's preventable. So I wanted to create something that's healthy for all races, genders, and everything in between, but honoring her name and legacy at the same time.
That's amazing. So when did you open your first Ruby Jeans Juicery shop? I think I went to that one.
Yeah, our first store. Yeah, you've been to that one. We opened that location in July 25th of 2015.
July 25th, 2015. And now you were like, I went on the website and I was like, oh my God, not only is he launching one this weekend, but he has other ones coming in North Kansas City and I think another location that I saw on there. So that's amazing. But I want to ask this question because you were on the panel at Jasmine Diane's brunch, and one question that I asked the panel was, what was your career? I mean, what career are you pursuing in college? And when you graduated, when you found a job, was it the same job that lined up with your calling, or was it that?
Not really. So I went to Missouri State for undergrad, University of Phoenix for grad school, and undergrad I was a business major with an emphasis on entrepreneurship. So then after college, since I didn't make it to the NFL, unfortunately, I had to go get a job. I ended up a group benefits underwriter, which I sitting in a cubicle, crunching numbers all day, no really human interaction. Just I started to feel like a robot. Business is vague, so it kind of allows you to pay your bills and get a job, but it definitely wasn't anything I was passionate about. It was more or less, I had rent, I had my cell phone, car, et cetera, et cetera.
So when was it for you where you're like, okay, I am about to take this leap for entrepreneurship, and did you have family that supported? Did you have that family that supported, and that family was like, are you sure you want to do this?
Absolutely. So it was, let me see, after that role as a group benefits underwriter, I was a catastrophe adjuster. So I traveled the country adjusting large scale claims. And at some point, probably midway through my tenure as an adjuster, I was sitting in Chicago and I couldn't remember what city I was in. I traveled 75% of the time. And I couldn't remember what city I was in. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, man, where am I at? And it was at that point where it kind of was a breaking point for me. I was making good money, but I just wasn't fulfilled in my spirit. So I decided to really, really ask myself, what do you want to do? Like, if you're making great money, you're traveling the country, you can pretty much do anything you want. What do you want to do? So I really prayed and thought on it, and I landed on, I had fallen in love with the culture of juicing, and all my tattoos at the time were about my grandmother. So it was like the light bulb just struck.
Oh,
so
wow.
From that moment forward, I said, that's what it is. And I'm going to save every penny. I'm going to do everything possible every single day to make this dream a reality.
Yeah, that's a big leap. But I have a question about the Ruby Jeans location. How do you establish like a positive work environment? Because you are the founder of this, you are the owner of it, you have many locations. How do you establish that positive work environment? People can come in, they can work, they can have good vibes, they are respected.
I think it happens somewhat organically for us because our story is so real, and me being the creator of it, that's just who I am. Like, I love people genuinely. Now, not to say we don't have staffing issues and things come up like that, but I treat my employees and staff and colleagues how I want to be treated. We have to have rough talks sometimes, but it's never from a position of, hey, I'm the owner and you're just an employee. It's always just from a place of love and just trying to get them on the accord of, because we have an actual purpose. We have a platform. We've treated, or not treated, but we've seen diabetes patients come in, cancer patients, obese customers, people with low blood pressure, high blood pressure, and a lot more other ailments. So what we're doing is actually, impacting people. So I always bring it to that when I'm dealing with my staff and my team, is that remember why we're here. This isn't just for some people, hey, we just need to pay our bills. But if you can connect them being the employees as well as the customer base to our why, like why we even exist, then it helps just keep the vibe natural.
You have to know your why. I think that's really important. What would you say is the difference between someone who maybe have health issues coming to Juicery and getting a smoothie versus going to a different location where it has added sugars, and why do you think it's so important that they get that healthy juice?
It's just so important because nowadays smoothies and juicing is kind of a thing. It's a fad. But if you're not careful, you can end up going to a place and you might as well have just went to Dairy Queen or got some ice cream, because all of the added syrups and sugar and powders and processed this and processed that, it kind of equates to the same thing. So we try to focus on just putting in the freshest, best ingredients possible, not adding any water, not adding anything that isn't, of a natural origin. So I think it's very important that people pay attention to those differences.
Speaking of smoothies and juice, you have a contract with UMKC, the basketball team. I've heard about the Ruby Juice that the basketball team is doing, the men's basketball team. So just tell us a little bit about that and just how that came about.
So it came about, it actually kind of started maybe about a year ago. I was speaking at a basketball camp. A friend of mine, Eshawn Henderson, was running. I just went to speak to the kids, kind of tell them, who I was, tell our story, and encourage them to start thinking about what they put in their body as athletes. One of the assistant men's basketball coaches of the MKC was there and he listened. And afterwards, he was like, "Hey, man, I think you're doing good things. I would like to talk to you further and see how we could maybe get our players involved with drinking healthy and just being healthier athletes." So fast forward a year, he reached out and said, "Hey, we still want to have that conversation. The season is coming up." So I came in, talked to the coaching staff and other directors, and we signed a year contract and we provide them with the root juice, which is a custom juice for the players, a few too many, a beet-based juice, and then a performance shake called the Wolf. So they drink 3 different products from us every single week for the next year.
That's awesome. I wish I had some root juice because when I was a college athlete, I wasn't eating and drinking the healthiest, but that's okay. So one thing I noticed is because I've seen you on the panel and I've seen articles, one thing that you don't compromise is your faith. You put that out there. You always give glory to God. And so why is that so important to you that you honor glorifying God and, just make that decision that I'm going to stand for what I believe?
Because for me, it's everything. It's the premise and foundation for my life, for everything that I believe. So there is no Chris without, my Lord and Savior.
Chris without Christ.
Yeah, there's no Chris without Christ. So there's no Ruby Jeans without Christ. There's no anything, in my opinion, without Christ. So it's important to me that, he receives that honor in an unashamed fashion every opportunity I get. Like I say this thing before I speak, and this is in front of big audiences at this point, that, I give honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And if somebody had a problem with that and didn't want me to say that before I came to speak, I wouldn't be speaking. So it's just important to me. I mean, the doors that he's opened for us and, the constant mercy and love that he bestows on us is just, I can't really put it into words. So there's no way I could hide it for anybody.
Right, that's amazing because it's so much pressure out here, especially, for young people. And I know for me, that's something that I don't compromise on. But I'm glad that you said that because some people wouldn't do that and say, "Oh, well, that's where the money is. So okay, if you don't want me to talk about Christ, if you don't want me to acknowledge that, then I won't do it."
Right.
But I just see with your success that acknowledging him, it says the director of path, and he's directing so many different areas. And so how did it feel when you started getting, that publicity from magazines, the news, getting in schools? Because I Googled, I was like, "Oh, he's on here, okay." How did that feel when that started happening?
I mean, it's a blessing. You go in and you have high expectations and dreams and hopes. But to see it, start to come together so quickly and the public to wrap their arms around me and from a local and national level at this point, it's surreal. It's just one of those things where I'm like, God, I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. And, I just, like I said, I saw so many articles and it was just amazing. It inspired me. And I see you active on social media and just knowing that you are that same person on there and off of social media, like here you speak at the brunch. And I want to make sure that we talk about Ruby Jean's Kitchen in Juicery because I interviewed J.I. Smith, the chef.
Yes.
That's my second interview. I interviewed him and he was just so excited about it. He just had so much respect for you, just shouting out Ruby Jean. So what made you want to add the kitchen part to Juicery?
So what I decided, going in, this wasn't something that it was a surprise. I knew that we had to, kind of introduce our brand initially and keep it somewhat simple. But in order to truly impact people the most, food is everything.
Absolutely.
Drinks are definitely complimentary, but food is the initial premise of health. So we wanted to tap into that market and be able to offer more things for our customers. So we had people that will come in and get a healthy smoothie, but then go next door and get a unhealthy fried burger burrito. I'm like, yeah, but no. So we, it's something that we knew we wanted to expand, and our Truce location gave us the perfect opportunity because it's a food desert. So it's no way we could go into a food desert and only bring our juices and smoothies. So we decided that would be our perfect first launch for Ruby Jean's Kitchen and Juicery.
Awesome. So what advice would you give someone who's like, I want to take the leap to entrepreneurship, this job, something not working for me. I'm sitting, like you talked about, sitting behind a desk and typing, you're on the on-call center, like, I can't do this. What advice would you give someone who really wants to take that leap, but they may be afraid, or they feel like, okay, guys might, this might fail,
I would say, and it might come off as shocking, but don't do it. And I'll explain that. Don't become an entrepreneur or take a leap to create your own lane or go after whatever it is. Don't do it on the wrong premise. Don't do it because money is your goal. Because this isn't, that's not the way it works. Don't do it if you're not willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to make it come to fruition. Don't do it if it's not a true passion. Don't do it if you don't know why you're doing it.
Right.
But do it if the answers to all those questions are, on the positive side. Go for it. Don't be afraid. Like just dive all in. But do your legwork and go into it on the right foundation. Because I think so many people look at owning up their own business and like, oh well, there's this new thing about sushi burritos. That's hot. It's not in Kansas City.
Right.
Let's hurry up and find some money, find a building, and
Find people who make sushi.
yeah, exactly. And you don't have a passion for sushi. You never even had a sushirito or whatever it's called. So it's like, it's go into it if it's coming from your heart and it's a passion, because it's too difficult not to. You'll quit because it's hard. You'll work some 22-hour days. Your money will not be in abundance for quite a while.
Right.
And there's so many sacrifices with relationships that you have to be ready to endure. So go into it with a healthy mindset and from a place of passion.
That's good. You know that. Yes, you know that. So I remember you telling a story because our class, some groups in my class had went up to Ruby Jeans, and you were talking about a location when you knew that first location was actually meant for you. And can you just kind of tell, how did you know that was it?
So that our first location at 40th and Broadway, it was, first I was looking over on Main Street initially, and then that kind of fell through. Then I started looking on Westport Road, and that fell through. And then I got a little discouraged, to be honest, because to go back to your question earlier, I was putting my intentions out to people close to me, my family, my friends, and it wasn't met with positivity. It was like, maybe, I don't know about Kansas City. Like, it gets cold here, and how much money you got, and so on and so forth, so much doubt. And so I started to kind of internalize that. And as I did that, it's like I sat back and I kind of became dormant with my research, with everything. I kind of just started to listen to God. And literally three different ways, he directed me to this building. A frat brother came up to me in the gym. He's like, "Hey man, I know what you want to do. There's this gym and they got this upstairs space. I think you should go talk to them." I was like, yeah, whatever. I was kind of like, chilling at that point. So that happened. And then my pops told me about this place, and he was like, "Yeah, I did this work for this place. It's a cool place," but he was just talking about the same place. And then the third time, I ran into the lady that owned the gym downstairs, and I was like, "All right, God, I hear you." I'm listening finally. So the very next day, I went and I looked at the space, and I fell in love with it. All those years of adjusting kind of started to unravel in my head. I started like piecing things together and visualizing it, and I was like, "This is Ruby Jeans. Like, this is it." Like, I had no doubts or questions, but it took, a few different like slaps from God to say, "Hey man, this is just fine."
Yes is yes, and his no is no.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I always learn. I want to go back to, I talked about the Ruby Jeans Kitchen Juicery, but I didn't get to want you to share the information of, is this open for everybody who can come, and what do you expect? What do you want people to get out of this when they're coming to this grand opening? So
our grand opening is Saturday, November 11th at 11 a.m. prompt. I would suggest people come early. I would suggest people come early because we anticipate a crowd. We should be in around the 50s or so. So we've got a couple of tents set up for people to kind of stand in line and be out of the elements. But I want people to come just with an open heart, come celebrate this moment with us. We're the first 100% healthy establishment to ever open in a food desert in Kansas City. So it's monumental. I went to daycare across the street. So it's just, it's going to be an emotional day. And we worked so hard to get to this moment, and we still are. So I just want people to come enjoy it. We have a flash menu, so our full menu won't be available because we wouldn't be able to keep up with all the traffic. So we'll be getting people in and out as quickly as we can. Come see the place, take some pictures, have fun. We'll have music. We'll have some giveaways, some samples, a couple other vendors popping up, just exposing their brands. But just come and love on the community and just have fun with it.
How long is that?
It starts at 11:11 and will close at 4 p.m. that day.
Since we're talking about locations, where are your other locations?
So 30th and Truth will open Saturday. We have a location at 1111 Main, right on the streetcar line downtown. We have active location in Springfield, Missouri, on Sunshine Street, east part of Springfield. Early 2018, we'll be opening a store in Stillwater, Oklahoma, inside of a grocery store. Next month, we'll open at North Oak and Berry Road, inside of a Price Chopper. That build out is 95% complete, so we're just kind of fine tuning it. We have a food truck that's finishing here in weeks, and then we have a distribution kitchen and center.
Funny thing, my mom told mom that I was giving you today. She said, where are the locations at? And I named, she said, okay, tell him that he needs to get one outside of the city. She loves healthy juice, but that was just funny because yesterday she was like, tell him we need one out south. We can put it right here. So, what made you choose the date November 11th at 11:11? What's the little thing behind that?
So 11:11 is something that I've been seeing 11:11 on clocks, addresses, like a bus will roll by and it'll be number 11:11 for literally years, like well over a decade. And then I started working with a broker, Cheryl Vickers, and she believed in me and wanted us to think about expansion. And one of the listings that she sent had an address 1111 Main.
Oh wow!
And I was like, all right, we definitely got to go see that one. And I fell in love with it, and we opened a store at 1111 Main. Before that even happened, I have 1111 tattooed under my watch on my skin. So it's something that I believe in. I believe that God speaks to us in different ways.
Oh yeah.
And so it's, for me, when I see it, it's always, hey, keep going. You're on track, stay inspired. That's it. I say a quick prayer and I keep going. Last year on November 11th, we gave away 11 gallons of juice from Ruby Jean's old house, right from the porch in the hood, 39th and Wall Badge. So this year, it was the perfect thing to say, okay, we're opening on 11/11 at 11/11, just to keep reinforcing those positive vibes and just that good energy.
Awesome. Who would you say is probably the most influential person in your life that like keeps you going, and he's that person who's like just stuck with you through it all?
Yeah. My mom, I would say, is, she is my truest rock. She's my motivation for what I do. She is the person that introduced me to Christ, that keeps me grounded, spiritually focused, and she's just a dope lady. So I would say my mom. But there's been tons of other people that support, friends, my girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera. So
awesome. And I see you go to See the Truth, and so I'm pretty sure you have a lot of even support there.
Yes.
I just hear your name everywhere, like at the brunch, and I'm just inspired for it. I was like, I have to get him on the show.
I appreciate it.
I had you written down when I first started it, so I was like, I'm going to get him on. I don't know when, but this is his perfect timing, because I was like, his grand opening is great exposure. And so just to kind of wrap this up, I want to ask, what was that? Have you ever been at that height, especially with Ruby Jeans, or a moment where you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this.
Okay, what I try to tell people is that, like, from the outside looking in, it's like top 100 on Yelp, so throughout the entire country, Black Enterprise Magazine, Pitch, Kansas Star, News, and all this different exposure, speaking here, keynote addresses, and all this different stuff. So in a way, I've reached a peak, height of my, success in my life, but in a weird way, it's like one of the lowest times as well, because it's such a lonely place.
Yes.
Because to build something from scratch and to do it at this rate and this magnitude is taxing. So there's definitely been those moments where I just, I'm in tears and I'm just praying, and but I go back to why am I doing this, and I go back to knowing that God put me here. So it's like, it's hard, but it ain't supposed to be easy, and it ain't gonna be hard forever. And God is directing it.
That's awesome. So, just like I said, well, now this is, I'm Turkey, so I'm closing out again. You know how you have that first close, you have to have that second close.
Wait, I thought we could go after that.
Yeah, so I always do Wisdom Wednesday. I get it from Twitter because it's Wednesday every week. So what will be your last little nugget for those who are listening, who feel like, some may feel like, I'm pumped, I'm ready to take this week. Some feel like, I feel like a failure, like, I don't know. What will be that last, like?
It's a scripture that I love. It's Romans 3:10. As it is written, there are none righteous, no, not one. So in that, to me, it says nobody's perfect. Like, we all fall short, of God's glory, but we also get a chance. So nobody's perfect. Nobody's all-knowing. Nobody's full of just the most wisdom possible. So we all have an opportunity. We all just, if nobody's righteous, then we all have an opportunity.
Right.
So I would say that's the biggest thing that I kind of rely on, is like, you got this. You know what I mean? Nobody has it all together all the time, but we can try.
Thank you for coming in today on the show. I think this just was perfect. Literally, at first I was going to title the show today, Keys to Success. And I'm like, well, the world is always talking about keys to success. So I put the kingdom in here. I said, I'm a woman of faith. Kingdom keys to success. So I think this interview was just so timely. To my listeners out there, you are listening to Makayla Simone and Chris Goode. Lastly, where can they find you on social media?
So my Instagram is at Mr. Chris Goode. Our business is at Ruby Jeans Juicery. Our website is www.rubyjeansjuicery.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I'll be tuning back with you guys on k-truth.org with your host, Makayla Simone, from 12 to 1 p.m. So don't miss the last segment. All right. Oh, thank you. Thanks for tuning in, guys.